As a competitive card game, when you play Hearthstone, you're going to want to have a strong deck full of powerful cards. And considering that the main way to get cards in Hearthstone is through booster packs, packs of 5 randomized cards, this leads a lot of newer players to believe that Hearthstone is a pay-to-win nightmare, that you have to spend a whole ton of money to grab all of these packs and hopefully get the cards that you want for the decks that you actually want to build that are strong. And that simply isn't the case. Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie, and in today's Hearthstone video, I'm going to be taking you through the very best ways to get the cards you actually need. The majority of these are completely free. We're going to be looking at the best ways to get free packs and free cards independently, but we will take a look in the shop later and talk about some of the paid options as well if you do want to drop a bit of money on the game. Which ways are the best ways to get cards? Now, first things first then, let's jump right into the My Collection section of the game. And obviously, I'm doing this on PC, but it is very similar layout on mobile as well. If we open up the My Collection and then we go to the filter, we can scroll down and filter just the core cards. Now, every single class in the game has 30 core cards. These are cards that you can unlock through basic gameplay, and these, you might think, oh, well, they're the core ones, they're the ones everyone gets, right? These are just pathetic and useless. No, these are core is the right word for them. They are the core of most of the big decks in the game. Most of the decks that I'm using use a lot of core cards. If we go across to decks that I know very well, for example, Warlock, Flame Imp is an absolute core of the Curse Imp card that I'm using. If we go through down to Shaman and some of these, Bloodlust is one that is used an awful lot. You saw that in my Murloc Madness deck. As we come a little bit further back in here, you'll start to see some of these do feature heavily in different deck archetypes. They are absolutely the core cards, and just a deck out of 30 core cards can be enough to really climb up to gold. I've seen people running the standard core decks in gold and even higher in the past. In fact, if we were to scroll down and go into a new deck and just pick any old class, let's look at Hunter for example, then one of the first archetypes it will give you is the core Hunter, and this is the same for every single class. You all have a core deck that uses just the core cards, and these are a really solid foundation. Great place to start, and then you can start tweaking this by taking cards out and replacing them with some other ones that you may have seen elsewhere. It's also worth noting that before we talk about how to get cards, you might want to work out which cards you actually want to get, and having a look at the different recipes for the different classes can also give you an idea of what you want to look at. So if, for example, let's pick one that I don't have all the cards for, Priest. If we go into Priest, you can see here, if I wanted to build the How Illuminating deck, it's going to allow me to create this, but it will be missing some of these cards, and so I now know which ones I need to look for, right? So how do you actually then get those? Well, the first way to do this is just through playing games. As you play and as you rank up, you will start to get get booster packs at the end of a season, but that's also a long way away, right? And we kind of need some cards now. This is where the Tavern Pass comes in. And I know what people are going to say, oh, Tavern Pass, it's like a battle pass, you've got to pay for that, right? No, you do not. If we were to take a look at the actual Tavern Pass, I'm going to scroll all the way back to the beginning here, the bottom row is the free track, the top row is the paid track, and you'll see that the vast majority of rewards are all along the bottom row, right? Now, if we go right back to the beginning, you'll notice that actually just starting the Tavern Pass is going to get you some cool cards as well. Lorthamar Theron, for example, is a really powerful card that is used in quite a few deck archetypes to really push things up. If you like Druid, if you like Priest, if you like Death Knight, that is a very common card to see in those decks, and it's completely free. You just have to start leveling up the Tavern Pass, which you do by doing your daily and weekly quests, which will be things like spend 30 mana, deal 30 damage, play 25 spells, this kind of thing, and you get these every day, and you get 3 every week as well. Well worth completing in order to get the points to start climbing up the pass. And of course, I now need to scroll all the way back to the beginning of this, but as we go along, you can see along the bottom line, we have card packs. Now, these red ones are standard card packs. They contain cards from the current standard format, and we'll talk more about that when we get to the shop later, but just understand that those are good packs if you don't know exactly what to look for. When you're seeing these gold cards here, these are special ones that cannot be enchanted or disenchanted. Again, we'll talk about that more later. But most of those are cards that you will already have. It's just giving you a gold version of them, like the Enchanter here, for example. There are some of these on the free round as well. You also get gold, which we'll talk about more later on also. But by the time we get right to the beginning here, you'll start to see random epics, random legendaries appear on here from time to time, and really early on in the season, not only are you getting those starter cards, you're also going to be getting a card pack there at level 3, and again at level 5, so straight away, that's a really easy way to get packs. And you might be thinking, okay, but what's the benefit to paying then? Well, the benefit to paying is a 10% faster point gain, which is always useful. It's going to help you fill this up faster. You do get the unique card back once you hit level 4 each season, and you start to unlock unique hero art as well that you can use to represent your different decks. But if you can't pay, really don't worry about it. Like, yeah, it does speed up a little bit thanks to those percentage boosts, but most of the rewards are on the free track and you can get a lot of them. And it's not just by doing the daily or weekly quests either. If we go into the achievement menu, especially under gameplay, you'll see that there are ways that we can earn more of these Tavern Pass points by playing certain cards. So if you happen to have some of the cards that are mentioned in here, you can start to get even more points that way. And if I scroll right to the bottom, there are some neutral ones here as well. For example, play 300 cards with Mana Thirst active. Chances are that if you're playing a deck and you're using some of the more recent cards, you're going to have 1 or 2 Mana Thirst cards in there. And just as you play those, you're starting to get more Tavern Pass points. Lorthamar Theron, that card that you saw right at the start of the Tavern Pass, if you're using him in a deck, you're going to start filling this up quickly and getting those 240 points for the Tavern Pass there. This is all a quick way that you can push that Tavern Pass up and get more rewards quickly. And it's worth doing this as soon as possible, because when the next set rolls around, the previous sets just change to the points there, achievement points. You don't get Tavern Pass credit for them anymore. So it's something fun to actually do throughout the season, to go through and try and do some of these achievements. Now, I'm actually considering redoing my Hunter deck completely, probably going to lose the game horribly just to see if I can draw 6 cards with 1 Conjured Arrow, so I can get that 240 points. I was running Conjured Arrow in a deck previously and I managed to get 5 cards drawn. I just need to now get the full 6 cards. So that's the kind of thing we can try. I've been playing a mage deck, so I can fill out that Arcane Bolt a bit more and start take a mana, leave a mana. It gives you a reason to try something new and just play around with some stuff. Who cares if you win? Who cares if you lose? You're here to get the points right, and points in this case mean prizes. Prizes being cards. And of course, when you open packs, that's not the end of it either, because as you open packs, you'll find that you get a lot of cards that you simply do not want, or ones that you've already got multiple times. If we come into my collection and go to crafting, there will always be a button here, which you can just mass disenchant, and this will get rid of any duplicates you have, because you can only ever have 2 cards in a deck. Therefore, you don't ever need 3 of anything. You can just disenchant and it'll get rid of any card that you have 3 of. I like to go through and look to see if I've got any duplicates where I've got gold and standard, and you can disenchant these as well. You just right click on it or tap on it and then you click disenchant. Now these are core set 1, so I can't do that. Let's go through to something like let's filter Lich King, go to warrior, here we go. If, for example, you can see here, Aradon the Grand Shield, I've got this special version of him. If I had the standard version as well, I could right-click it. I know it's not the right one, and you can disenchant it for some enchanting dust, arcane dust, or you can actually buy more cards this way. This is a way that if you haven't got a card that you're specifically after, you can get it. So let's jump back and have a look. We'll go to a set I don't have a full completion on. So something like Sunken City, here we are. So if I really wanted the Fires of Zin Ashari, I can click on this and I can create it at the cost of 400 dust. 970 is what I currently have. And if you've got extras of something, so let's go through and say, for example, I didn't want this Trench Stalker, again, I can get rid of that. The rarer a card, the more it disenchants for, and the more it costs to create. And it's not a one-to-one conversion, you'll see. This is to stop you just basically swapping. It does mean you are going to... There is a bit of luck involved here that if you want a specific card and you keep not getting it, you're going to have to disenchant more than the value of that one card. But it's an important way of doing it, and it allows you to basically fill out your sets here with all the cards that you want. If I wanted Kalak, he's going to cost me 1600. If it doesn't have the amounts here, it's because you do not have the amount required. And legendaries are usually 1600 to enchant, 800 for disenchanting. Epics are 800 to create, 400 to disenchant. Rares, I believe, are 100 and commons are 50. I could be wrong on that. It will tell you. Of course, I can just check here. In disenchant for 5 and yeah, upgrade for 360. That upgrade is just to turn it into a gold card. Now, honestly, I'm not a big fan of the gold cards. You can see as I go through the collection here that I don't really have many gold cards in any of these sets at all. And the reason for that is they are exactly the same as the standard cards. Like here, we've got the Cutlass Courier. I got Cutlass Courier and I don't care that it's a gold one, so I can click on this and I can disenchant that for 50 more dust. I've still got the 2 cards I need for my deck, I just don't have a particularly standout gold version anymore. They don't do anything different, you don't get any different rewards or anything for them, so you may as well disenchant them and just use those. I mean, heck, as I said, I've got the 2. If I ever wanted to make a rogue deck with those, I've got the maximum amount I can put in. That 3rd one is completely extra, and being a gold card, it's worth more to disenchant than a standard card would be. I just want to check that there are none others here. These are ones that I've got through passes. You'll see that these can't be disenchanted because they've been given out as rewards, but I have gotten rid of the base version because, again, I don't need the base version if I've got the 2 gold versions. It's nothing crazy on commons, but on those epics, it can add up. And this is kind of how I have made half the decks that I've made. I've got a lot of decks here that are just done by me disenchanting and creating the cards that I want. I've now got 1,200. I can start working towards filling those in onto something actually useful for me once I find a new deck archetype that I want to build that I don't have the cards for. But okay, those are the free ways to get this. Leveling up just by playing games, doing the tavern pass, both with your daily quests, your weekly quests, and with the random achievements, and of course just by disenchanting and enchanting. What about the shop? Well, you're going to come here from time to time anyway because you're going to get gold. Gold comes from the Tavern Pass quite frequently, and you can use this to buy stuff. We can scroll past all these bundles for now, we'll come back to them, and we start to get the sets. Now remember I said I was going to talk about Standard later on. Standard uses any sets that exist from the past 2 years. After those 2 years are up, the second year will fall off and a new year will start. This means that currently Standard is Forged in the Barrens, United in Stormwind, and Fractured in Alterac Valley from 2021 to 2022, and then Sunken City, Murder at Castle Nathria, and March of the Lich King, the most recent set, being this year's one. Now that means as the next set comes out, some of these will start to fall off the bottom. So if you're going to buy from sets, I recommend buying from the top first because they are going to last you longer, although 2 years is a long time. You might not even be playing this game in 2 years, although I kind of hope you are. So you've got your 100 gold, which is shown down here. I've actually only got 85. How do you spend this? Because all of this is real world money or like these runes and things like that, right? Well, it's simple. You pick the set you want, you click on the pack, and boom, here are your different options. And it's going to give you the paid versions first, because of course it is. But at the top, you've got one pack for 100 gold. You can just buy these one at a time. Now, ultimately, I would go for the standard versions. There are signature goldens as well, but again, you can't buy these with gold, and all these are is gold versions of cards. That doesn't really do much, right? You're paying more for the same cards. So ultimately, I would look at which cards you actually want, go into your collection, have a look at a card that you're looking for. So for example, I could go back into Warrior here. Let's put the crafting tab on and go, oh, Provoke. I really like the look of this one. I can find which set it is. It says here, United in Stormwind. Cool, that now tells me if that's the one card I really want right now, then that's the set that I should be buying, right? Scroll down a sec, sorry, get this little bug sometimes in the store with the scroll there. So that was United in Stormwind. I can buy one of these packs here, open it up, and hopefully get that card. And if I don't get that card, well, I can disenchant the ones I don't want, and that still gets me further towards that card, right? Kind of a bad example though, because that is one of the 3 smaller ones that I would not recommend going for. I would aim for these top 3 sets first and foremost, unless there is a very specific card that you are after. And of course, if you like the look of the new Death Knight class, go for March of the Lich King, because it's the only one that contains Death Knights right now. Now, in regards to spending money, what is worth spending on? Again, this is kind of up to you. They do often have bundles up here that can be quite useful. These, again, are golden bundles. Oh, it's 5 packs of cards and 1 legendary. So we're looking at a total of 26 cards there for £21. That's a lot of money for those cards, and it's because they're gold. Just because they're gold. They're literally just gold cards. Very useful for disenchanting, but to me, that's about it. If we come down, though, again, if we go into these, you can buy packs in bulk, which does look nice and exciting when you see that big stack sort of there. And yeah, if you've got the money, $60 isn't bad at all to get that many cards, in my opinion. But ultimately, I think the best way is with the mini sets, and these are really cool. If we open up one of these, let's look at the Murder in Castle Nathria. Again, change it to normal. It'll try and get you to spend £60 on the gold versions. Don't bother, go for the standard versions first. In here, you're going to get guaranteed cards. In this one, Prosecutor Meltranix, Defense Attorney Nathanos, Sylvanas the Accused, and the Jailer. Those are the 4 legendaries you get. Then you get 2 of all of these down here. Again, these can be really useful. Check if there are cards that you actually want out of these. I had this before where, as a brilliant example, let's come out of this and go to, I'm sure it's Voyage in the Sunken City. I was looking for one particular card, Ozymat, for a deck I wanted for Rogue, and this is the exact card here. It's right there in that set, and you can see I've bought it because, hell yes, that's the easiest way to get that card. It's guaranteed. And if any of these you don't want, there's a whole load of disenchants there as well. Commander Ulthok is another one that I use in one of my Warlock decks. Very, very worthwhile for me to pick this particular one up, and some of these are really useful cards as well that I wanted for other decks. So it's about, I think, £13 to get you a load of these cards. Look, there's the Tide Lost Burrower, and we saw the Clownfish a second ago if you're looking to do that Murloc deck that I showcased. Cheap, easy way to get a load of cards, and you've got a load of legendaries there that you can disenchant to put you towards other legendaries. And ultimately, I kind of think this is a really good way of doing it as well. Like, if you are absolutely adamant that there's one specific legendary you need, and you've got, $13-15 to spend, grab one of these sets, because you can just disenchant the legendaries you don't want, and then get the ones that you do. It's a nice, cheap way of getting a whole load of stuff. Now, the final thing to talk about are the standard packs. These are kind of what I would call the bottom of the barrel, I don't know what else to pick pack, because you've sat there and you've looked through your decks and you're not sure which cards you want. Do you want some from March the Lich King, Castle Nathria, Sunken City? I don't know. You can go for these standard packs. This will contain cards out of any of the current standard sets, so you're kind of getting 5 cards out of a full pool of 6 sets. There's a lot of options there. I don't really like buying the standard packs. I would rather earmark cards that I'm actually looking for and buy those packs, because you've got more chance of getting those packs. Like for me personally, I literally have every single card in March the Lich King and Murder at Castle Nathria. It's kind of pointless for me to buy these because everything in that is going to be disenchanted. Voyage to the Sunken City, there are a couple of cards I want, so I'm going to buy that. Most of the cards are going to get disenchanted, but I've got a chance of getting those cards that I want, and the ones that I'm disenchanting pull me towards just creating those cards. But if I were to buy the standard ones, I've got 5 cards that could all be from March the Lich King or Castle Nathria. It could be 1 card from Voyage to the Sunken City, which means it's a 1 chance to actually get the card I want rather than 5 out of this pack. Hopefully that makes sense. So the long and short of that is, for me, if you want to be buying something specific, I would look at the mini sets and consider these. There are some very powerful cards in some of these sets. If we go into the normal, there's Cookie the Cook, again from that deck that I made, the Murloc one. If I go to Fractured and Alterac Valley, one of the Druid decks really likes the Onyxia card that's in here, Raid Boss Onyxia. There's Mida, Pure Light for priests, and just there's so much stuff you can do just by taking a good look through those and deciding which one actually works for you. Anyway, folks, those are my tips on how to get cards quickly, efficiently, cheaply, possibly even free in Hearthstone. This will help you build your decks quickly and efficiently. I may have missed some tips, so please do let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already, and please, if you found this useful, hit like on it. Really helps with YouTube to know that my videos should be recommended to other people. So take that second, hit like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time.